So with the NAR settlement, essentially what it says as it states now is that you can't, as a listing agent, you can't put the buyer's agent commission in the MLS anymore. So that's the hierarchy thing. So now it's going to be, how do sellers end up working with that? What are they going to do? There's going to be a large portion that realizes, hey, we should still compensate a buyer's agent to get maximum exposure on our listing. There's going to be a small group that says, oh, I don't have to pay a buyer's agent commission anymore. I'm not going to do it. That's not necessarily what the settlement is about anyway. It's just that it's not going to be posted in the MLS anymore. But there's going to be people that internalize it and say that that's what it means. So you will have a small group that say that. And then outside of that, you'll have probably like the more savvy people in real estate that understand like, hey, commissions have always been negotiable and they are still negotiable, so I'm going to continue to make it negotiable. And so the person who's going to make it negotiable is still going to compensate a buyer's agent. The person who says that I'm going to continue moving as is still going to compensate a buyer's agent as well. And then I swear it's just going to be that small group. I don't know what the number is, but just ballparking it, 10 to 20%, maybe 15% of sellers that'll be out there saying that, no, we're not compensating a buyer's agent. Because even before this came out, we actually did see on some listings that there were sellers that were only offering a penny, right, to a buyer's agent. And the reason behind that is that they had to put a dollar amount, in this case, only a penny, but like a dollar amount, a monetary amount in the MLS because that was the requirement. It wasn't a requirement that it has to be 2%, 3% or anything along those lines. So I saw this, probably started seeing it a couple years back. And again, the amount of homes that I look at on a daily and even monthly basis compared to the amount of homes that I actually saw that on, I probably saw it on 2 homes over the past 5 years. So it's not a lot. So that 10 to 15% I said earlier is probably like 1%. That 1%, I look at those and start to liken them very similar to like for sell by owners. And historically with for sell by owners, we know that for sell by owners end up selling their home for less money than the same seller would if they had a realtor on their side. And again, it's because of the maximum exposure. It's about a listing agent having the ability to maximize the value of your home for you as well. That somebody who does this once every 20 years, they're not going to know how to maximize the value of their home. They say, I want to sell my home for this amount because this is the amount that I think that it's worth, and that's it. Whereas a listing agent can come and say, cool, you want to sell your home for that amount, but it's actually worth 10% more than that, and I'm going to get that for you. So long story short, when it comes down to this, I don't really see it impacting realtors that much, and really it's not going to impact home values. And we'll jump into that because what's going to happen, or let's actually go back to what they think was going to happen. So the thought process is that now that we remove the commission, the seller is going to take a smaller number on their house. So in theory, less than what it's actually worth, because they don't have to pay a buyer's agent commission. But that's not true, because the seller is still going to sell their home for what it's worth. And what your home is worth, one, is what somebody is willing to pay for it. But two, if there's going to be an appraisal, it's going to be the appraised value for that home as well. That factors in there. So home appraisals aren't going to go down just because you're not paying a buyer's agent commission anymore. That will stay the same. So what does that do? The seller still sells their house for the same price that they would have done before based on an appraised value. And now they've in theory made more money because they're not paying a buyer's agent commission. However, the only piece of that is their homes will most likely sit on the market longer if they're not paying a buyer's agent commission, because now they've reduced from the worldwide pool of everybody to a very small group of who their agent can bring in individually, and then any other agent that's willing to work for free, or an agent that needs to negotiate a buyer's agent commission with their buyer. Now this goes into a whole nother whirlwind because we're talking about some buyers don't have the money to pay another agent their fee. Think about first-time home buyers. Like they're gonna be, most of them would be screwed in this situation. If you were coming in trying to use a 3.5% down FHA loan because you had just 3.5% for your down payment and then you could cover your closing costs, or even if you're looking for a credit from the seller for closing costs, now you've got to get your down payment money, you've got to get the credit from the seller to help you with your closing costs, and then you need to find a way to pay your buyer's agent as well. So that's going to be a major struggle for anybody that was a little bit strapped for cash that was trying to buy a home, right?